How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.
Vizag is going to be reunion central. Delhi Capitals, having released their captain, will now have to see him lead another side, Lucknow, and as the most expensive player, while they have Lucknow's own ex-captain in KL Rahul. It's quite the storylines here as Delhi Capitals take on Lucknow Super Giants, and match number 4 of the season, we build up to it on Maruti Suzuki Arena, presents ESPN Cricinfo Timeout, where we are joined by Matthew Hayden and Varun Aaron. It's amazing how the fixture list throws up these kind of matchups right at the start.
Gotta love a mega option. Absolutely. Just to really mess all the fans up, mess us up. We're getting player rosters here that we've never seen before, and you know, it's really just about trying to get that settled combination. The sides that get off to a flyer in the Tata IPL, they just send messages out. You think of KKR, the way they at home got punished. The refresh of RCB. Sunrisers Hyderabad, too close to call, but it's one of these fixtures which you know that opposition sides now, when they're not playing, are looking in and going, who are our matchups? How is it that we can gain the upper hand?
Yeah, and it is quite the story for Rishabh Pant to start his journey as captain of a new franchise against his ex-team. Now this is a franchise whose owner has been known to be strict on field, off the field, and now he has to unite with a free-spirited captain. How do you see that relationship going?
I think Rishabh Pant's latest ad with Sunil Gavaskar is a great example of how things can be managed with somebody who's been strict with him. But that said, you know what, the past is the past. I'm sure both parties have learned from their journeys, and if you've got to run an IPL team, you have to be a bit even key, and even if you're annoyed, you've got to show it behind closed doors. As a player, that's what I would feel. But Rishabh Pant, again, a very experienced campaigner, can win you a match single-handedly, and his captaincy has been really on point for the last few years as well.
Your good friend Justin Langer will have an important role to play here as well.
Yeah, and managing up. Rishabh should be on field, you know, the coordinator of both the domestic players but also international players, the real glue in that change room. Justin Langer's role is to go up to management as well and have those discussions. And if it is heated, he's a great person to have in the trenches because he's well organised in his thoughts. He's very calm by nature in spite of his reputation being quite aggressive and so forth, but a very measured individual. So he's the perfect bloke to have in the helm. And also I think he'd be really excited to just steal someone like Rishabh Pant out of the Delhi change rooms. I mean, he's an icon player of the IPL. Most runs for Delhi Capitals. And also just that little friction point. Players that go over. We saw that with Ishant Kishan. Little point to prove, just to jab back at the franchise to say, hey, let me go at your peril.
Yep. You mentioned Justin Langer's approach. The brand of cricket was a big conversation around Lucknow Super Giants last season. It's felt at times that they've been caught in two minds. How challenging is that aspect of it going to be for someone like Pant starting off at a new side?
The one big name which has created this controversy in my head anyway is Nicholas Pooran and where he bats. Justin Langer was always keen to have him down the order to really anchor that bottom end. They tried him up the top as well, and he was equally as good up there. You know, so for mine, it's having that great structure around your icon players that can fit inside the wagon wheel, the Venn diagram of 150, 500 runs and most sixes, sits in that space and gets the maximum amount of exposure to the game. So those conversations, I think, will be really important, you know, for as LSG advancing in this tournament.
Yeah, that is an important part of the LSG puzzle, but there is an even bigger dilemma that is facing them ahead of their tournament opener, and that is, Varun, that all the domestic pacers are injured. Mohsin Khan is out for the season, Mayank Yadav likely to miss a significant part, Avesh Khan not fit, Akash Deep not fit. Have you got any calls to consider taking the retirement back?
I mean, I've retired.
He's ready. Look at him.
I'm retired, especially after the game happening versus the Sunrisers and Rajasthan Royals. I'm happily retired as a bowler. You know,
there's nothing wrong with going at 10s and over, though, mate. You're good to go.
Yeah, but that's a really sticky situation to be in, especially for Haydos' good mate Justin Langer. He never saw this coming. All his main fast bowlers injured, especially at the start of the tournament. You want to stabilize your team. You want to go in with a unit which you can build, but that's not going to happen. But that being said, that's an opportunity for somebody like Shardul Thakur. Again, didn't get picked in the auction, has done well in the IPL previously. He'll have a point to prove. Akash Singh, again, a good left arm fast bowler, just not been given enough games when he was playing with CSK. He's got an opportunity. And then Shemar Joseph, a really good fast bowler. So their fast bowling isn't looking really off colour. I think they can still do the job and revolve around somebody like Ravi Bishnoi.
Yeah, it's just an odd situation. I mean, ever so often over the course of an IPL season, you might miss one frontline pacer and replace him. LSG will go into their first game knowing that possibly the 4 first choice are not there. And now you have the next 4 plus a Shardul Thakur who's been roped in as a replacement coming in. That's not how you want to start.
That's an understatement, isn't it? You know, when you think of how these tournaments progress, oftentimes batters dominate in the first half of the tournament. And that's certainly what LSG playing Rostam has done. It's got all of its overseas batters up front in the faces of opposition. When you get to the back end of the tournament, the fag end of the tournament becomes such a key part of a bowling and more of a defensive mindset. And that's when you need your key bowlers to really step into those roles. You know, batters tighten up during these tournaments. It doesn't matter whether it's this tournament or World Cups. Easy pickings at the start. Everyone's free, footloose and fancy, no problems. And you get to the back end, you need your fast bowler. So I guess what I'm saying is there is a glimmer of hope for Justin Langer. He has got a really good fast bowling cartel at his disposal. He's just going to have to work really hard to get him right and get him pumping by the time this tournament gets underway.
Just in terms of what it does to the plans coming into the tournament, like you mentioned, they punted on those overseas batters. They would have wanted to field all 4. Now Shemar Joseph has to play, given the absence of all the seamers. So room only for 1 out of Mitchell Marsh and Aidan Markram. Which way does that go?
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I probably think that they'll go with Mitch Marsh at this stage. Some handy overs potentially as well. Not that Markram can't bowl.
But Cricket Australia haven't cleared him to bowl.
So there you
so
go.
Marsh can't be bowling this
can't
IPL.
bowl,
Yeah.
Good old Cricket Australia.
Does
They're still jabbing it into Justin Langer. Can you believe it? Hey,
Not letting him be
bygones
peace,
be
yeah.
bygones,
Exactly,
I say.
Does that alter your answer then? If Marsh can't bowl, do you want Markram
Well,
in
it
the
does.
side?
Yeah, I think Mitchell Marsh's form hasn't been that terrific either. I just sense that Justin would have liked, you know, that benchmark player that he knows how he can construct and organise. Aidan Markram may well play instead of him. Yeah.
All right. And amid all of this, there is then the intrigue of what is Pant's best batting position. Where would you play him in this lineup?
I think I would just keep him where he was playing before, 4, because otherwise it's going to be really difficult. He's that batsman, like Haydos said. You want your team to revolve around your main batsman, and especially Pant. If you have Pant at the back end, we all know how he can absolutely go hammer and tongs versus any bowling attack, especially with those weird angles he plays. So as a bowler, you don't have too many options to bowl to Pant, especially when he's playing at the back end, but you don't want to get him in too late as well. So you want him to like establish a good rhythm at the start and then go crazy towards the end.
In this lineup, where you do have Pooran and Miller as well, are you tempted to bat him?
I was just thinking exactly that. I was thinking that maybe this is the golden opportunity where Nicky P does open, does allow, you know, Markram and co to follow, you know, sets that tone because he's that good a player. I mean, for mine, he is their superstar player and certainly has the potential to get through an innings and score big.
All right. Going to be interesting. Rishabh Pant is known as such an enigmatic cricketer. He will now have quite an enigmatic mix to choose from for his first game. Delhi Capitals have a new captain of their own in Akshar Patel. How do you see him? He's been so integral to DC and their plans in recent years. How do you see him taking over as captain?
Look, he's a really smart cricketer. Just with the way he goes about his cricket, very, very smart with the ball. Has improved his batting tenfold. The way he's batting now, I mean, from where he started off is unbelievable. That just shows how much of work he's put into his game, but also his cricket acumen is on point for being a captain. That being said, he has experienced hands to help him. He's got KL Rahul, he's got Faf du Plessis to show him the ropes and to give him that guiding hand whenever he needs it. But all in all, they've got a really good team. So if you're captaining for the first time in the IPL and you're captaining a very raw team, that would pose different challenges. But the team he has now are well settled individuals who know what they have to do come match day.
The batting position becomes an interesting conversation for Delhi's marquee signing as well, because KL Rahul, where does he play? That's a question tough enough to answer in any circumstances. But now that you know you have Faf du Plessis as your vice captain, there's Jake Fraser-McGurk, who you obviously would like to see at the top of the order. Where does Rahul fit best for you?
Is he a bit like Ajinkya Rahane? Can he kind of float around the order?
They've been floating him around everywhere.
I mean,
the
I'm
Indian
sure
team. So he can literally bat anywhere they want him to.
So he's got such great versatility, and I don't think he's the person that it necessarily affects the way he goes about his business. What he'll do is he'll try and construct his effort according to his position. But if you're going to have someone like Jake Fraser-McGurk and Faf du Plessis at the top, and given Jake Fraser-McGurk's last IPL, you assume that he'll be a start. Really risky, because he hasn't got a run in any format of the game since the last IPL. So it's a big risk. But I sense on a good wicket, Vizag's a high-scoring ground. The ability for him to come out and just bat with great freedom, as we saw him in the last IPL. Massive strike rate again, the highest in the last season of the IPL, over 200. I think that KL Rahul, a bit like Ajinkya Rahane, I think as he eases into this tournament for KKR, will tend to float around the order.
All right. Who are you picking as the favourites for this game?
I'm going to go with Delhi, just because they're a settled unit, good bowling attack, good batting, good batsmen, experienced batsmen. I think there's no comparison to experience, because you've seen through the IPL, if you are a bit inexperienced, the occasion can overhaul you and get the better of you. But Delhi seems really well settled, and Lucknow going in with injuries, so I would back Delhi for this one.
Yeah, hard to argue against that.
Yeah.
They're at home. I think they can make this a real fortress as well. Got a well settled side, an experienced side. When you think of who they pickpocketed, guys like Natarajan, that's excellent. Both at the start, at the middle stages, and at the death. And their batting lineup is superb. And their X factor, which Australian cricket actually hasn't been really lured into playing Jake Fraser-McGurk. Their X factor, Delhi, was him. So those factors. KL Rahul. I mean, what a global superstar, World Cup winner,
Champions Trophy winner. No?
Champions Trophy winner. Anything else?
Just missed out on the World Cup though.
Yeah,
because that ODI World Cup didn't end up favourably for India.
The Aussies spoiled the Indian party like they've done before.
Right, but
we felt a bit bad about it.
I'm sure you did. Thank you so much. We've got Delhi as the favourites from our experts as they begin their campaign at their alternate home base of Vizag, which last season saw a 270 plus total in one of the two games that was played here.
How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.